What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Jersey Devils Brocast, brought to you by Radio Garden State. I'm Papa Reese Van Riper, and I'm here with my brother Jim. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing great. Devils are up 5-2, so it's a wonderful evening.
Wonderful evening so far. We have some very exciting news for y'all. March 20th, we're going to be live from the Prudential Center, starting at 5:30 p.m. to puck drop, which is 7 p.m. And the Devils are going to be playing the Flames. So come on by the table, which is usually outside of the Whiskey Lounge.
My favorite spot.
Yeah, our favorite spot.
Our
Some of the
favorite
greatest people work there. And we're going to have some fun. So March 20th, that's next Thursday, right?
Yeah, that's going to be a great time.
Yeah,
Come on by the table.
Mike's going to bring us, and we're going to do a Jersey Devils Brocast from there. It's definitely going to be live from, the concourse. Maybe it'll be streaming live. We're going to work things out, but come stop by. We're going to have some new stickers for you guys, and let's talk some puck, all right? So we just had the trade deadline.
We did.
And a lot of stuff happened around the league. Not such big of a splash for the Devils.
No, I'd say kind of league-wide was a bit of a boring trade deadline. I mean, the Mikko Rantanen drama kind of caught the headlines for the most part. The Brock Nelson trade was a big one.
Right.
There were a few other trades. Charlie Coyle from Boston to Colorado. Colorado, very active.
Very active.
But, I mean, there's so many teams that are still in the race and not so many that are completely out of it. So there's just not a big pool of players to kind of trade and move around right now.
Yeah, I guess that's it. People are on contracts. The one that we were talking about, Brad Marchand, he went to, where
Florida.
The rats live.
Yeah, Florida, where they throw rats on the ice.
Exactly. I like the meme that's like, their mascot, the rat. It's like Brad Marchand.
He's already been here.
He's already here. He's been here the whole time. Yeah, it would have been nice to see him lick some Ranger faces for the Devils.
But you know what? He'll be a free agent, though. So maybe he'll be here in October.
Cross your fingers.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
That'll be the theme of the show for the summer.
So where did Rantanen land?
He went to Dallas. So the Mikko Rantanen stuff is interesting. Carolina makes a big trade for him back in earlier in the year. I think that was January they made that trade.
Right.
And they traded a pretty good player, Marty Nietzsche, to Colorado for him. Rantanen goes to Carolina. Apparently says to the coach, there's only 4 teams I want to play for, and you're not one of them, which is quite the statement. And I guess at that point, Carolina kind of figured that he wasn't going to stay here because I think that kind of means I'm not going to stay here.
Right.
And so they tried to work out a trade for him. He ended up in Dallas, signed an extension, and Dallas, gave a pretty good package back to Carolina for that. But that was kind of the headline of the trade deadline. The Brock Nelson trade is another big one. From the Islanders went over to the Colorado Avalanche. And then otherwise, I'd say a lot of B-level, C-level trades, and I think there were a lot of fan bases that were a little disappointed, kind of like we were.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. What would you grade Fitzy during this?
Well, the fan side of me is giving it an F because I wanted that kind of energy injection into the roster, into the lineup, into the team where you get somebody that can kind of put the air back in the balloon because it seems like since we got into 2025, the air's been coming out of the balloon here for the Devils. They've been playing 500 hockey, and then Jack Hughes gets hurt. Siegenthaler got hurt before that. Now Hamilton's out for a while. So you kind of wanted to bring in somebody that might get some energy back. But now, they didn't do that. So the Devils went out and instead got a lot of kind of guys from the bottom of the barrel, I guess. So the fan side of me is like, this is an F. How could this happen? They had to get more. You just lost some really good players. You have to get more for a playoff run. They're in a playoff spot right now. You don't want to just punt on a season when you still have some very good players on this team.
Right. I'm glad we didn't punt.
Yeah.
Because, it seemed like that once it happened, but I'm really liking how Glass looks so far.
And like the hockey fan, the non-Devils fan, I guess, would be like, I'd give it like a C- because it's passing. They didn't do a whole lot, but like what else was out there? Like the whole list of players that we had on our last show. Alex Tuck, not traded. McCann, not traded. Donato, not traded. Nick Evans, not traded.
Right.
Palmieri, not traded. O'Reilly wasn't. Kyrou wasn't. Shen wasn't. Besser wasn't. Like all these guys stayed. So I think I've been seeing on the Devil fan groups a lot of outrage, like he should have done something sooner, he should have done something back in December. It's like, well, look at the trade package for Brock Nelson. That would have been like the Devils. The equivalent would have been the Devils trading, because that was a solid defenseman, Oliver Kylington, a great prospect in Richie,
right?
Conditional first-round pick and a third. So that'd be like the Devils trading Brendan Dillon. The equivalent of Richie would be like Seamus Casey, another first-round pick, and then a third for Brock Nelson. That's a huge haul.
That is huge.
Like, I don't know.
I was one of those fans for like the first day. I was like, what the fuck? We did nothing. We didn't get Marchand. We got
Flipping
Rantanen.
tables.
Rantanen was never going to come to the Devils. No way they were going to give it to us.
No.
Rantanen said, you're not one of the 4 teams I want to play for. To friggin' I was like, oh my God.
Handcuffs them. Yeah, to Rod Brindamore, of all people, who could kill anybody.
Yeah, it could kill you.
Except Scott Stevens.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, it's so the hockey fan in me, I think I kind of understand like the business dynamic of the game. It was a seller's market. There was only really 10 teams that were selling, and they didn't even sell that much. They were holding on to high prices for players that no one wanted to pay, including the Devils. So what's Fitzgerald supposed to do here? It's a little difficult. I wish they got a little more. Maybe some middle 6 forwards, something a little bit more than they did.
Depth. Not depth, but more like what they needed, the middle.
Yeah, yeah. And, they got Brian Dumoulin. I thought that was going to be the beginning of like, all right, they got a nice defenseman to replace Siegenthaler. I think they're going to make some moves here. And then nothing else really happened.
Nothing really happened, yeah. I was like, who the hell is this Glass guy? And then the game that he played 2 nights ago, right? It was scored a goal. Got an assist.
Yep.
If he had a fight, he would have had what we were talking about last week, the Gordie Howe hat trick.
Yeah. He would have been right up there.
He doesn't look like much a fighter.
No.
No. But you can never really tell with these guys. Some of them get a little scrappy. And I just wanted to say again, apparently some of our fans told us that my mic was chopping because I had the gate up too high up. So let me just announce again, we have some very exciting news here at the Jersey Devils Brocast. On March 20th, next Thursday, March 20th, we're going to be live from the Prudential Center. And we're going to be there from 5:30 when the doors open to when the puck drops at 7 p.m. And the Devils take on the Flames, hopefully crushing them within their teeth.
Yes.
Come by the table. We're going to be by the Whiskey Lounge usually.
Come on by, have a few beers.
Our favorite place.
It is. It's our favorite place.
Some of the best people work there.
Yep.
And come by, grab some stickers because we got some Jersey Devil Brocast stickers. And don't be a stranger. Talk to us. And you can rub Mike's head or you can rub J-Bake's head.
We're going to have some bald heads there, so it'll be easy to find us.
We're going to polish them all up with some turtle oil.
His is nicer than mine, though.
I don't know. You got a real symmetrical head.
Thanks, man.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
I dream of polish.
That's what I was known for before the Brocast, was my symmetrical head.
All right. Well, we have some other things to talk about. We're going to cover the game in our third period, where we're also going to talk about some ice cold dudes. Right now, it's 5-2. Devils are up 5 goals. Can you believe it?
Well, and like you said, they just had they were talking about Cody Glass on the broadcast, but he was the first pick for the Vegas Golden Knights. Like he was a high first round pick. He's a talented player that just hasn't been able to put it together yet. So hopefully he finds that with the Devils. Daniel Sprong is another one. He was a kind of a highly touted prospect. He scored 20 goals before.
Right.
Little strange that after their good game, they then sat him.
Right.
But Cotter scored tonight. So
Cotter. You know what? It's something I wanted to say. Welcome back, Cotter.
Yep. There you go.
Because he actually was just in the box, right? He was just in the box, popped right out, had those fresh legs, and he scored. And know what I said right away? Welcome back, Cotter. That's what I said.
Yep, right away.
I didn't say anything else.
You didn't say anything else.
I said, welcome back, Cotter.
Yep.
Right away. And if you don't know what that reference is, then you wouldn't understand the even the 1995 Devils win, Yeah. I think that show came out in the 70s.
Yeah, long time ago. But again, we're going to be at the Prudential Center with Radio Garden State, keeping New Jersey loud, March 20th. From the Prue Center. Oh, God, it looks like the Columbus Blue Jackets just scored a goal. Yeah.
But that's okay. It's good to have a 3-goal cushion.
Yeah.
Now there's a 2-goal cushion.
I wonder if this is going to be overturned. Looks like they're arguing the goal.
Oh, I love that. I love that we've been arguing a lot of goals, And it seems like the boys may be back in town. What do you think about that? You think the boys are coming back? We just played the Flyers, which isn't the greatest team. The goalie situation is probably worse than the league. It said.
Yeah.
We saw.
And it feels like the Flyers have been cursed with goalies forever now. They had Hextall and Bernie Perrant, and then it's kind of been a wasteland.
Yeah, yeah, not a good look. Not a good look, but it's good. I mean, it's good that they beat the crap out of them. You know, they looked good. Mm-hmm. They looked alive. That's always that's a rivalry. Yeah. So those games could go either way. Even if you have a bad team, you could still lose because the passion is there.
Yeah, and it kind of felt like kind of the typical Devils game against a bad team that we've seen the last 2 months. Like, they got away with a few things that you don't get away with against the better teams, but they still found a way to win, and it was 2 big points. Always feels good to play Philly. It was good that he sure dumped a guy into the bench.
That was awesome.
We don't see a lot, but that was great.
Yeah, our poll came back. People were like, I like this new Nico.
Yeah.
And, Nico put some numbers up today. He put the first one in, right?
Yep. Yeah, great goal.
Great goal. That was absolutely fantastic. Tipped. Speaking of tipped, we're going to go into our first music session. And if you haven't heard the news, Jersey Fest is back at White Eagle Hall on May 17th, 2025. Grab your tickets now. They're on sale. General admission is at a discounted price right now, so the faster you go there, the faster it is. And like I said before, it seems like the boys are back in town with the New Jersey Devils, because I'm telling you, I'm liking how they're playing, because not only against the Flyers, who weren't that great, they're playing great against a team in their own caliber right now, because Columbus is not too far away. And with that, Back in Town, here is Back in Town by Connor Bracken and the Mother Leeds Band. Oh, yeah. That was Papa Reese, me, of Reese Van Riper and Reese Van Riper with Wood and Alice in Chains cover off of Flannel Dreams, a Mint 400 Records collaboration. Reese Van Riper is going back into the studio this weekend with Kevin and Trajan of Backroom Studios. At Backroom Studios, they're going to be recording an album, an EP called The American Dream, which will be out July 4th, which the American Dream always shows itself on July 4th, and it will be a release show at Pet Shop Thursday, July 24th with Fair Panic. In the middle there, you heard Tiny Ships with Feed Into Sound. And Tiny Ships is going to be playing a Devils game on April 13th at 1 p.m. when the Devils take on the Islanders. So go to tinyships.com and check out how you can get tickets to that game. It's going to be a good one, I'm sure. A win, hopefully, for the Devils. The way that they're playing tonight, they're playing a little tough, so hopefully they'll bring it to them. And first, you heard, once again, Connor Bracken and the Mother Leeds Band with Back in Town. And they're going to be playing Jersey Fest, which is at White Eagle Hall this year on May 17th, 2025, brought to you by Radio Garden State and greetings from the Garden State. The other bands that are going to be playing Jersey Fest are Emerson Wolf and the Wishbones, Reality Suite, and in between, you're going to see John Caz play a couple songs, the great John Caz. DJ April, who I love and adore, she's great, just played her 86th magazine release, and she's going to be doing, I think, an interview with us, or with me for the magazine. We're going to bring up the Jersey Devils Brocast. She will be spinning records before the show, and you're also going to be seeing Creatures of Chrome there. And Mark Moran from Weird New Jersey is going to introduce a band, and he actually introduced our band last year at Jersey Fest, which was awesome because I am a huge Weird New Jersey fan. Speaking of New Jersey, we're winning right now, 5-3. Beyond that, we want to talk some puck talks. Now it's time for puck talk. All right, Jim, what do we got?
So tonight we're going to be handling what's called the trapezoid rule, a rule that us Devils fans know pretty well because it was more or less designed because of the great Marty Brodeur.
Oh, yeah.
So trapezoid rule is informally known as the Brodeur rule, and it's an NHL rule prohibiting goaltenders from handling pucks behind the goal line outside of a designated trapezoidal area. This was implemented in 05-06 after that lockout, and it was to prevent goalies from playing a puck in the corner.
Which was Marty's specialty.
To try and produce more offense, because what would happen back in the day, team would dump it in, Marty would go out, he'd just pass it right to one of the Devils' defensive men, play over. So they wanted to do that as a way to generate more offense. If the goalie plays the puck outside of that trapezoid, it's a 2-minute penalty.
Right.
So if you see that behind the net, that is what that is. So basically the goaltender is not allowed to go into the corners to play the puck. It prevents him from going over there.
He can, but it has to be beyond the goal line.
Correct. Yeah, anywhere from beyond the goal line in his own zone. But once he is in the corners there, between the goal line and the corners, not allowed to play the puck there. And again, that was it's unique for Devils fans because that was directly to combat Brodeur. And if you remember, for us old timers here that were big fans back in the day. That whole lockout, a lot of it had to do with, the trap and too much defense, not enough offense. So that was one of many rules that they had implemented to try and get more offense in the game. You see these, teams adjust, coaches adjust. Now there's new ways of playing defense. There's new ways of producing offense, and there's always that give and take a little bit. So we're seeing different ways of implementing the trap. It's like fast defense now rather than clutching and grabbing, but it's all... right now scoring's going up pretty good in the league, and we have a high-scoring team that's going to be coming into New Jersey soon.
It might even go even higher because right now we got an empty net.
Yeah, we'll see.
So let's talk about the strength of schedule coming up for the Devils because now this is crunch time. Everybody's trying to get into championship or even playoff position.
Yeah. Devils have I believe the 6th easiest schedule remaining here for the remainder of the season, which they really need.
Yeah.
Right now, we got 29 seconds left in this game. 5-3 Devils against Columbus. Looks like they're going to be able to hold this one out, so that's a huge deal. But then you got the Oilers coming in, Pittsburgh, Blue Jackets again.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the 20th, our game.
Yes,
They're
Calgary.
Playing the Flames. So the next week, you have a very difficult game against the Oilers, but then it gets a little bit easier. The Penguins have been pretty terrible all year.
Penguins are terrible.
Devils have played them pretty well.
And you want that win.
Yeah, that has to be
a win you need.
Has to be a win.
Right.
And then another game that's going to be like a playoff game against Columbus next week as well.
Because they're desperate,
Yeah.
And that dog's hungry. That dog's going to want to eat.
Yep.
Yeah. And they're going to be wanting to eat, man, especially after this game.
Yeah, we're going to be in Columbus the next time too, which is a tough building to play in. And it's the Devils though, they got to capitalize on this. They've had a 500 record since the beginning of the season, or not beginning of the season, since the beginning of the year. And this is a time to finally start maybe stringing together a winning streak, which is something that we haven't seen from them in a while now.
And the Devils do have a couple rivalry games with the Rangers and the Islanders coming up.
Yep.
It seems like even Boston's becoming a rivalry game, but, Boston seems like it's going to be out of the picture.
Yeah, and you got 2 games against Boston, so that right there, that should be an automatic 4 points. The Rangers are slowly, thank God, falling out of the playoff picture here.
Yeah.
That should be an easy 2 points. You got these teams that are probably going to be putting out younger players, guys that are looking at the future that aren't necessarily NHL ready, and the Devils have to capitalize on that because they got about, 16 games left total?
Yeah, I think so, 16.
So out of those 32 points, how many do you think they're going to need?
They're going to need at least 12 games, I think. Maybe 11.
Yeah, 24 points.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a 98-point season here that they're going to need to close this out, get into the playoffs, and let's see what happens.
I'm just going to do my predictions right now because I love predicting.
Okay.
I'm going to say Edmonton. I think that's going to be a win.
Okay.
I think Pittsburgh's going to be a win. Columbus may be a dog because, that dog want to eat.
Yeah.
Because they just lost 5-3 right now. They did great against the Rangers, but like you said, they're falling out of contention. They're not the same par right now.
Yeah.
Calgary, I could see us winning that.
Yeah.
Ottawa, Calgary, those are up. Those are up in the air.
They're holding on to their final playoff
exactly,
spots.
Yeah.
Those 3, that string of 3 games, they were actually then the Canucks, too.
Canucks, yeah, exactly.
That's going to be a
playing a West Coast team is always a little different.
Yeah.
Even when we were kids, man, I feel like they had like a step on the East Coast. I have no idea why. I feel like they were just like, the Avalanche after we won the Cup, the Avalanche went on a tear.
Red Wings won too, yeah.
Yeah, the Red Wings. Yeah. Now the Red Wings are in our...
Well, it was like for a very long time, like the top 5 teams in the league, the Devils were the only team from the East. It was like the Devils,
the Beast from the East.
Yeah, then you got the Red Wings, the Avalanche, the Stars.
Right.
that were just dynamic teams back in the day.
Now that brings up another thing that we were talking about. We looked like hammered dog shit against the Stars. Let's be honest. We got annihilated. We tried to bring it back, and then they were like, "Hold on, boy. Stay in that corner." There.
Yeah, and we're gonna break your heart.
We're gonna break your
5
heart.
seconds left in the game. We're just gonna end this.
How do you like
now.
that?
Yeah,
you thought you had it, didn't you?
Yeah.
So I got a little feel. I feel a little certain type of way. I feel a certain type of way about the Stars right now. So. I'm going to like to see them, hopefully, when we go bring it to the Cup this year.
I hope so.
We're not going to have another opportunity.
We'll see.
But Chicago's definitely a win for me.
It has to be.
Has to be.
The Jets is going to be a really hard game.
That's going to be just as hard.
Yeah, what do you think for that?
I think that might be one we might have to.
But right now,
so
what is their record at this point with your predictions? Have they won every game?
They won. Yeah, basically.
All right,
they won every game except for maybe Columbus.
But you haven't given them a loss. You're like, well, all right, maybe. But.
Well, the way that my luck is, we'll go to the Calgary game, and they may not pull it through. But since Mike and you were there, I think
maybe
you guys
we have some good luck. Yeah,
exactly.
Some good luck.
We'll be there cheering on the fans, make sure everybody's in a good headspace.
Yep.
So Minnesota. What do you think about Minnesota?
That's going to be another tough game. They're one of the best teams in the West, and they got back-to-back.
Right. I think they have the opportunity to. The Devils have lost their best player. Okay.
Yeah.
Right now, last game, like the 2 games after they lost Jack Hughes, we're not good because everyone's depressed. They're crying in the locker room. Can we please stop crying?
Yeah, I don't think
in the locker room.
Yeah, I don't think
this is hockey.
Yeah, I'd much rather have a team care too much and have some tears. Fine,
get angry.
But I don't. Do you think Ken Danico or Stevens and McKay and Holik and those guys?
I don't think Stevens is capable of crying. I don't think he has tear ducts.
He's emotionless. Yeah. I don't think that would have happened. That was a little strange. I know we've been talking a lot about that. About
the new league is soft.
Yeah, about that, and I don't know if maybe the guys are. There's such a thing as caring too much,
right?
And then you start trying to do too much. And then that I think explains maybe a lot of how they've played. And they play against these good teams, and they start trying to do a little too much, and then it ends up biting them in the ass. Yeah, that was a little strange. I know Luke Hughes too needed a few minutes to collect himself.
I mean, it's his brother. I get that,
I get that. But do you think the Sutter brothers back in the day, they would have been crying if Brent Sutter broke his shoulder? You think his brother would have been in tears? It probably would have been I don't know. It's a little different. I know it's a different time. I don't.
Different,
Yeah.
But looking over here after the Minnesota, we have Minnesota back-to-back, which is going to be real tough, I think. We have the Rangers, which are a rival. That could go either way. I would like to say that we take it out. But, you have a rival with the Rangers. You have a spoilers with Boston and Pittsburgh. They want to ruin someone's season, ruin our chances in case we don't do too great.
Mm-hmm.
New York Islanders, I feel like we should just annihilate them. But again, they got Paul Mary. They got a lot of guys.
They're gonna want to. You got guys that are playing for contracts and stuff. But if you look at the last 6 games of the season, the Devils should really get 10 out of 12 points. They are better than, even without Hughes and Hamilton and Siegenthaler. They are better than all 6 of these teams, or 5 of them, playing the Bruins twice, Rangers, Penguins, Islanders, Red Wings.
Since we talked, though, we found out that Siegenthaler's out for the whole season.
Yeah.
They kept on saying,
he might be back.
Might be back. But then we talked to our contact there at the Devils, and she was like, we saw him walking around in crutches.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
That's not good at all.
That's not day-to-day to me. That sounds like he's gone until, training camp.
So basically, we should be all right. I feel like if they keep playing the style that they're playing, they'll make it.
And if they go against Carolina in the first round, which looks like that's going to be the case, Carolina's a wounded animal. They got a great prospect in the second Rantanen trade, but I think that whole ordeal hurt them because now they don't have that top-line winger right now. The prospect they got for him, I think, will eventually be there. Is a very good player, but I think they what was his name? Sorry, I'm having a bit of a... Logan Stankoven is like a hell of a player.
Wow, this sounds like a joke name, right?
I know, but he is a very good prospect.
Logan Stankoven.
I think he scored the game-winning goal in his first game for them. He's a very good player, but in the short term, that hurt them. That's a matchup I think the Devils could get through if they're playing well and get to the second round, and all things considered. If they made it to the second round right now after losing Hughes and Hamilton and Siegenthaler in October, we would have been very disappointed. But right now, that would be quite the accomplishment for them to get that far.
Absolutely, and I'm happy that we're in a position to be this close. And with that, if you're wishing bad on the Devils, then I'm wishing bad on you. And don't be wishing bad on me, because you don't want that. This is Wishing Bad on Me by Fairmont. The end of days are not here for the New Jersey Devils. All right, this reaches our third period here. Let's go through what we were playing just then. First off, you had Fairmont with Wishing Bad on Me, featuring guest vocals by yours truly, Papa Reese of Reese Van Riper. In the middle there, you had Yawn Mower with 16 Minutes off their new album, which you got to check out. To Each His Own Coat, I believe that's the name of it. We played some of them last week, and they have a show coming up on April 12th at Low Dive in Asbury Park, which is a big hot spot. Hopefully we're playing there soon. And what you just heard last was Hooky by my boy Nick in the Cantations, another Mint 400 Records band. And we just want to tell you that here at Jersey Devils Brocast, we have a playlist up on Spotify. So go find it. It's called Jersey Devils Brocast Playlist. And it has every song that we've played here. And it has every song that we played in the past weeks. But we usually update it the day after the show. So check out Jersey Devils Brocast Playlist on Spotify. And we just want to keep New Jersey loud here on Radio Garden State. And by keeping New Jersey loud, you know what is also loud? This week's Ice Cold Dude. All right, this is where we stump J-Bake. See if we can do it this week, okay?
I'm 2-0 right now.
2-0. I'm going to give you the names. I'm going to give you the names of the guy, and you're going to tell me which former Devil I'm talking about.
Okay.
The Ice Cold Dude.
All right.
All right.
And I'm not cheating.
Not cheating. He is not cheating, okay? My mother's like, you got to tell people he's not cheating. This is miraculous.
I swear I am not cheating. This is my superpower.
This is your superpower.
I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
I'm a total nerd.
All right, so let's try this, okay?
Okay.
Blackhawks.
All right.
Ottawa.
Okay.
Devils.
Mike Peluso.
Boom! There were two more I had to go through.
I have a few buddies of mine, Mike and Ken. If they're listening, they're laughing hysterically. Right
Yep,
now.
that was fantastic. I basically gave you two that were just,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Oh,
Mike
yeah.
Peluso.
Mike Peluso, man. Loved him.
What
Loved
hair?
him. Yeah. Great
The
head of
mane
hair.
on that, man.
We talked about guys crying.
Right.
When he cried, it was acceptable because you just won the Stanley Cup.
Right.
That was awesome. This big goon, 6'4" monster crying on the bench,
You know.
lifting the cup. Doesn't get better than that.
What a beautiful, beautiful man.
Yep.
You know, what a strong man.
Yes.
You know, and I actually found out that he actually has been suffering with some, you know, neurological stuff.
Yeah.
Terribly.
Yeah, there was a lawsuit.
There was a
involved
lawsuit.
in,
I was reading about that.
Involved the Devils.
Yeah, because it said that he should not sustain any further head trauma or trauma to his head, or he will suffer additional seizures and long-lasting brain damage.
Yeah.
And that was after a fight in 1993 against Tony Twist, which is a funny name.
Yeah.
Quebec Nordiques, you know, and he had a concussion, and he actually had a seizure.
Yeah, if I remember right, too, there was like an issue where there was a game. Now, I could probably try and pull this up, but where with the Devils in 95 or 96, where he didn't stick up for Stevens.
Right.
And I think it was because of that. Like, he was terrified to fight. Like, these guys, what these enforcers went through,
Yeah.
it's crazy, man. It's
Right.
really wild. They don't remember games. They don't remember where they were.
It's awful.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's really
and he was
awful.
such like a piece of that team.
Yeah.
Like, one of the main reasons why no one fucked with anyone on
yeah,
that team.
Yeah, because he was a monster.
In the lawsuit, it actually stated that he was on the ice to fight.
Yep.
You know, and it says that he did take the Devils into court in 2019, and through this, I think they offered him something, or like other teams had offered him in 2017, $325,000.
Okay.
Which is like nothing because he was paying basically out of pocket for, procedures and medication to alleviate it. And he turned it down. And then when, he went against the Devils and sued him, they dismissed it in 2019. So he never got anything, but he's a Stanley Cup champion. He was one of our heroes growing up, Mike Peluso.
Mike Peluso. Yeah, wish him the best. He's a great Devil.
He is absolutely an ice-cold dude.
100%.
Oh, yeah, that's Mike Peluso right there. Oh, it is the third period, but we still have some time. Don't ring that yet. All right, game review. What do we got? Devils win.
So, Devils won tonight. Big game. This was kind of a playoff game here, playing against Columbus. Columbus is playing for their life right now. They're trying to hold on to the final playoff spot here in the East. Devils, pretty good showing tonight. Nico Hischier with a goal. Timo Meier with a goal. Meier March coming at you, folks. This is when he heats up. This is why we got him. Jesper Bratt doing Jesper Bratt things. A goal and 2 assists. That just is like Jesper Bratt.
Bratty.
The new guy, Cody Glass, 2 assists tonight. Nason with an assist. And Paul Cotter. Welcome back, Cotter, with a goal tonight. Another nice night, Luke Hughes. Goal and an assist, 2 points. It would be great to see him start coming alive. The new guy, Dennis Cholowski, -2. Did not have a great game, it looks like. But Devils overall, really nice game, and this was a really, really big win. And this is like we said, this is a Columbus team that's fighting for their life right now.
That's true.
And Matthew Olivier had 2 goals for Columbus, and Kirill Marchenko, one of their better players, had a goal as well for them. But yeah, very good night for the Devils. Hopefully, this is going to be the beginning of something. They really need a winning streak, but a tough test coming up against Edmonton.
Absolutely. Welcome back, Cotter. All right, you can't say that joke again. We're getting blown. We're getting a blown whistle here.
Oh, yeah. We're done.
Yeah, we're
2-minute
done.
penalty.
Yeah, exactly.
You're off.
We got a couple minutes left. Let's talk about Edmonton.
Yeah, so top-heavy team. I mean, Draisaitl and McDavid might be the best 1-2 punch in hockey. 2 guys that are already Hall of Famers, pretty much. McDavid is kind of clearly the best player in the game. Evan Bouchard, hell of a defenseman. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, hell of a player in his own right. I think he was a 100-point player not that long ago. So Edmonton, top-heavy, though. They kind of run through those 4 guys, and then it's a little bit of a mix of everybody else. Right. And that's going to be, but those 4 guys
they stay on the ice,
can destroy you.
Yeah.
I mean, like we had talked about a few weeks ago with Colorado, like, well, it's McKinnon, Makar, and then it's kind of everybody else.
Right.
And McKinnon and Makar burned the Devils. They played a great game, and that's what happened. And this is going to be a tough test for the Devils. And I think this is also one of those games where, like, you're going to have to make those defensive adjustments and change things a little bit, because maybe when you have Jack Hughes and Dougie Hamilton in a lineup, you can maybe try and go a little mano-y-mano with Edmonton.
Yeah.
You can't do that now.
Not right now.
You have Nico Hischier. You still have the Devils have some talent, but not this.
Got to have a plan.
That guy. So they're going to have to contain those 4 players and get some timely goal scoring, which is kind of what we saw tonight against Columbus and what we saw against Philadelphia. Carry this against Edmonton, please.
Yeah, I mean, today they looked like the Devils earlier in the season. They put up 3 goals in the first period. When have we seen that recently?
Yeah,
even when Jack was in.
Yeah, terrible starts.
So I mean, I know it's not like a team like Dallas or the Jets or even really like Edmonton. You know what I mean? The Jackets, Blue Jackets. I mean, come on, but they are fighting for their lives, like you said right now.
Yeah.
And they're desperate, and they didn't look like they were. I mean, they looked like they were playing well in certain parts. They kind of had a comeback, but in that first period, man, it was all Devils. The intensity was there, and I liked just some sloppy passes. Sometimes, they pass across the ice, like you were saying. And teams are picking up on that.
Yeah, I think fans know exactly the play we're talking about. They try and set up on one side of the ice, do the cross-crease pass for the one-timer, and you can see defensemen on the other team are almost starting to cheat a little bit, like they're starting to anticipate that.
Right.
It's like some of those plays maybe simplify it a little bit, just get it towards the net and kind of get the old-school goal going there, and they might have to start making those adjustments now they don't have the type of talent in the lineup without the key players. But yeah, it's going to be a big test. Edmonton almost won the Stanley Cup last year. This is another one. This is going to be on par with Vegas and Dallas and these teams that the Devils have had really struggled to go up against out west, especially. Seems like the best teams in the West have been beating the crap out of the Devils here.
It's concerning too, because if they're doing that, it'd be great if we went all the way. but you'd get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
But like you said, like Carolina, if we play them in the first round, we may have a chance with that.
Yeah, and they have a very good team, but that's like a matchup. You go kind of, all right, this is a little even here. The Devils, I think, would have the edge in goaltending, which is huge come playoff time, and you'd think that would be something we can get through Carolina. They're kind of wounded in their own right. They haven't exactly been playing their best the last 2 months.
Right.
The Rantanen stuff, maybe that's over with. Maybe they take off a little bit. That cloud is kind of done.
Yeah, like a toxin in the locker room. He did not want to be there. I was shocked when he said that. You say that to the coach and they don't take your ass out?
Yeah, that is such a big, And, I don't know. And maybe in hindsight, maybe that's a guy you don't really want on your team.
Right.
He won a Stanley Cup and did great in the playoffs for Colorado. But if that's the attitude he has, there's only 4 teams I want to go to, and you're not one of them. That's oof. And a team that has Stanley Cup aspirations, too. This isn't like you got traded to Buffalo. Yeah. No offense to Buffalo. Or Chicago right now that's going kind of nowhere. Like, you have a team here that could go win a cup in Carolina, with you on it especially. And to say that to Rod Brindamore, one of the most respected people in the game.
Right.
That's a ballsy move.
I mean, coming up, I think the Jets are going to be a problem. Looking now, I think maybe the, Edmonton Oilers, but they're coming here from Edmonton. That's like a 27-day trip.
Yeah.
So,
make them walk.
Senators are also fighting for a spot, it seems, but or are they in? I think
they're holding on to one of the last spots, but holding on. It's tough. There's still teams up there.
You got to watch for those dogs, man. You got to watch for those dogs because they want to eat, like I was saying before. But a team that I feel confident that we can overcome, even though they are like in a dog spot too, the Calgary Flames. And we're going to be actually at the Prudential Center on March 20th, the Jersey Devils Brocast with Mike Hamm of Greetings from the Garden State and Radio Garden State. March 20th at Prudential Center, and we're going to start at 5:30 p.m. to puck drop at 7 p.m. Come visit us for when the Devils play the Calgary Flames. We got a couple minutes left. Anything else we should cover?
No, just when we're there, come say hi. Yeah. We're friendly guys.
We got stickers.
We're fun. We're happy. We got stickers.
We have stickers.
Come on, man.
I think Radio Garden State made some pins, too.
Okay, that's cool.
Who doesn't love a pin?
You'll be right by the whiskey bar, have a few beers.
Yeah, maybe a few whiskeys.
Yeah, we can talk to some fans, have a good time. Maybe we can do a little informal poll before the game on some stuff.
Oh, that's
and talk
good,
to some people, see what some game time predictions are, and have a good time. I think it's going to be a great night. I'm excited.
I'm excited, too.
It's going to be a really fun night.
Keep sharing our polls, keep participating in our polls. That's something that we talk about when we come back on the show. Yep. We love talking to them, and we love getting your ideas and viewpoints, too. So, March...
Especially how I'm the better goalie, apparently.
Yeah, I was shocked. I filled the entire goal. I don't have to move.
It's my quick twitch movements,
I think that's what must be it.
Yeah, I'm
tweaker
so fast
movements.
that people just see me like, this guy's fast. And then they're really disappointed.
And then they look at me, and they're like, this guy's slow. But he fits in the whole damn goal.
But he takes up the net, yeah.
Okay. Well, what's that? Oh, that was the final horn. Okay. We're out of here. How about that? Thanks for joining us on Radio Garden State. We had a great time with you guys, and we always do. Again, come visit us March 20th when we come to the Prudential Center, Jersey Devils Brocast. 5:30 p.m. to puck drop, 7 p.m. in front of the Whiskey Lounge. We'll see you there.
Yep.
Have a great night.
You too, buddy. Let's go Devils.
Let's go Devils. We're going to leave you with this.